Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another edition of A Cup of Joe. As always, I'm your host, Joe. I hope you're all doing well this fine, slightly overcast Thursday morning. I would love to hear what you were drinking this morning as you join in to watch. I'm always on the lookout for some new roasts to try. Our roast today is local to BC, but not really local to the island. It's Kicking Horse Coffee, which is, of course, roasted in Invermere, BC. And I'm drinking their 454 horsepower blend. So it sounds like it's going to be pretty strong. Let's give her a whiff here. All right, time for a sip. Nothing too exciting or overwhelming. No like really large flavor notes or anything, except for smoky. Definitely smoky. You know how sometimes you drink a cup of coffee and it's too watery, and other times you drink a cup of coffee and it's like it punches you in the face? This is a cup of coffee that punches you in the face. It reminds me of a Garfield comic where Garfield asks John how strong the coffee is, and then he takes his mug and he turns it upside down and goes clunk. That's my review of the 454 horsepower blend. So if you like coffee that punches you in the face, this is a roast for you. If you're looking for something a little bit more subtle, maybe try something else. Anyways, as a church, we're currently going through a series called Sacred Rhythms. And I want to apologize about last week. I made a mistake uploading the video and there was no Cup of Joe. So my apologies to all of our avid Six fans out there. I'm just kidding. There's more of you. I just like to self-deprecate. Anyways, I want to share a little bit with you from our sermon on Sunday. We talked about the secret of the easy yoke, about how following Jesus is a completely different way of living life. And it's actually an easier way to live life than you might think. And I want to read to you Jesus' words, and they're paraphrased by a guy named Eugene Peterson. He wrote the Message version, and this is how he paraphrases Jesus' words. And I just find they're so life-giving. This is what he says. He says, "Are you tired, worn out, burned out on religion? Come to me. Get away with me, and you'll recover your life. I'll show you how to take a real rest. Walk with me and work with me. Watch how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. I won't lay anything heavy or ill-fitting on you. Keep company with me, and you will learn to live freely and lightly." Isn't that just amazing? You know, when I read this, and he says, "Are you tired? Are you worn out?" Like, how many times are you like, "Yep, that is me"? Or maybe you've followed Jesus for a while, or maybe you followed Jesus for a while, and then you got burnt by the church. You got burnt by people who said they followed Jesus, but their lives look completely different from that. And Jesus talks about that too. He says, "Are you burned out on religion?" And he says, "If you are, come to me." And I find that invitation just so incredible. Jesus' invitation to the skeptical has always been to be curious. That he invites us into a relationship with him. Now, often when we read this passage, and if you've heard this passage before, we read it and we think, okay, I'm having a hard day, I'm a little bit flustered, I'm just going to go spend some time with God, and then I'll feel better, and then I'll go about my day. Well, yes and no. Yes, that's a good thing when you're feeling tired, to find your strength in the Lord. But that's actually not really what this passage is talking about. See, what this passage is talking about is more of a lifestyle than a moment. It's not just I'm feeling down, so I'm going to go to Jesus type of thing, and he's going to give me a rest. See, in the first century, when teachers talked about taking a yoke, which is a way to shoulder a burden, it was a way to shoulder life, to shoulder the sometimes crippling burden of life that we all face. And so, see, instead of giving us an escape, Jesus is giving us a way to live. And so, Jesus invites us, he says, come and learn from me, come and apprentice under me, come and follow me, and I will teach you how to live. I will teach you how to shoulder the burden of life in a way that you've never shouldered it before. Because what's remarkable about Jesus' yoke is that it is easy, that it is light. And that when we shoulder his yoke, we learn to live freely and lightly. And so what that means is that if we want to experience the life of Jesus, if we want to experience living freely and lightly, we need to actually adopt the lifestyle of Jesus. We actually need to look at how Jesus lived and ask ourselves, how would Jesus live if he were me? How would Jesus handle the situations that I face every day, right? Because clearly you're not Jesus, and you can't transport yourself back to the first century and become a rabbi like Jesus. And so there needs to be a little bit of interpretation. How does my role as a father, how does that impact the way that I live? If Jesus was a father, how would he live? If Jesus was a mother, how would he live? If Jesus was a business owner, how would he handle business transactions? How would he treat his employees? And so it's a completely different way to live life. And so over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be exploring the secret of the easy yoke. We're going to be exploring what it means to live life the way that Jesus would live if he were you. So I hope you're curious. I hope you're going to stay tuned in to find out a little bit more. I'm so glad that you joined me this morning, and I'm a little bit tired, so I'm going to go for another punch in the face here with this 454 horsepower blend. Yep, still there. All right, well, friends, this has been A Cup of Joe.